Hello guys, so today we're going to be doing yesterday's Leetcode daily. I solved it yesterday, but kind of recorded too late today. So it's the largest odd number in the string, and it says you are given a string num representing a large integer. Return the largest valued odd integer as a string that is a non-empty substring of num, or an empty string if no odd integer exists. A substring is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string. So looking at these examples, you can see in example 1 num equals 52, and you can see 52 isn't an odd number, but 5 is an odd number, so you would obviously return that number. 4206, right? None of these numbers are actually odd, so it would return just an empty string like it said up here. And 35427, the whole string itself is an odd number, so you would want to return that whole string. So there's two ways to go with this. You can solve it going forward, where you iterate through the whole string, checking one by one, which I'll show you here. 35427, I think. 354 and 273. Yep. So I'm gonna use this as an example. I'm using a mouse pad, so it might be a little bit hard to. I might be a little bit slow with the clicks, but let's say we move forward, right? We traverse forward. So we're gonna check if the first number is odd, and that's true, so we accept it. We're checking if the second number is odd, that's true, so we accept it. Check if the third number is odd, that's not true, so we don't accept it. And we keep increasing our window. Check if the fourth number is odd, we don't accept it. And we check if the fifth number is odd, so it is odd, so we do accept the whole string. And basically, this is more of a brute force solution, so the time complexity is pure O of n. So there's a better solution if you kind of just look at the last digit in the string. If the last digit in the string or integer is already odd, that makes the whole string itself odd, which would make sense. So it would make more sense rather than traversing forward to traverse backwards. So you traverse backwards, right when you see an integer that's odd, right? You should just accept the whole string without having to finish the loop. This makes it more efficient because you would just accept the rest of the string rather than having to go through it one by one like I showed you earlier. So let's write up the code real quick, and I'll keep explaining each line of code. So start off by looping through each string. See if I can make it a little bit bigger. So for I in range, the length of the string, right? So we're iterating through the string. It's kind of weird tabbing, but it's okay. So for I in range, the length of the string, you're gonna check if, so to check if it's an odd number, you will want to do modulus, right? So what would give you an odd number? Anything with a remainder of 1, right? So anything divided by 2 or modulus by 2 with the remainder of 1 would be considered an odd number. So let's say we have 7. If you do 7 divided by 2, you have a remainder of 1, right? So that makes it odd. 3 divided by 2, you have a remainder of 1, that makes it odd. 1 divided by 2, you still have a remainder of 1, that will make it odd. So you're going to be using modulus operator to check if it's odd. But you can see that the string itself right now, it's in string format, so you want to convert the string to an integer. Okay, so inside the string, you're going to check nums of I. So you're checking the variable inside the string, right? If nums of I modulus by 2 equals 1, you just got to return, so we're going to use string slicing. Well, I plus 1, nums of I plus 1, right? So you're going to use string slicing, and basically string slicing, it allows you to, let's keep this example. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3. Right, so since we're starting backwards, since we're starting backwards, I'll show you guys, this will make it go traverse backwards, right? Since we're starting backwards, so once we see a string, right, all we have to do is once we see an odd number, we just accept the rest of the string, right? So knowing that, with string slicing, you should know that it's start, stop, step. So this is start, stop, and step. So it's gonna so with stop, it doesn't include the index itself, so you want to do I plus 1. So if we did this with just I, it would just include 1, 2, I believe. And if you do I plus 1, it will include 3 itself. So yeah. So that's why we're doing string slicing. So we can just accept the string immediately once we see an odd number. That way we don't have to traverse it in O of n time complexity, right? And so let's say there was no odd number. Like, let's use this example, 4206, right? This is like the worst time complexity of this algorithm. So we're starting backwards. We see this is not an odd number, so we don't accept it. We see that this is not an odd number as well, if I'm not mistaken, so you don't accept it. And this is not an odd number, you don't accept it. If this is not an odd number, you don't accept it. So we actually had to go through the whole input to check. So this is in the worst time complexity O of n, but it's still more efficient than starting forward, because if you start forward, you have to go through the whole string at least once every time. So you would just return the empty string. And if we run this, this should work. I tried recording this like 5 minutes ago, but I was having some issues recording on my MacBook. But yeah, it works. So if the string isn't odd, you just return an empty string. This line, once you see an odd number immediately backwards, you will immediately return. If checking if the integer is odd. So yeah, let's submit. And I believe the time complexity is actually, the time is pretty good. Ooh, it beats 39.89%. Pretty sure that's just a submission issue. I'm pretty sure like this can get more efficient. 44.69. Yeah, this is definitely Leetcode side. Let's see if we can get it up to like 60%. I'm pretty sure I was able to get it up to 58%. Let's see. Damn, they really want you to subscribe to Leetcode Premium. 58.77. If I remember correctly, I did this earlier where I beat 64.6. So yeah, I believe it's just Leetcode's side, but this problem is pretty optimal. If you want to talk about the time complexity of this problem, it's still O of n, because the worst case can be O of n, because you still have to sometimes, like, there's cases where like, if the whole string is even, you want to loop through the whole input, and the space complexity is still technically O of 1. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys.